All right, gonna throw in here on another Origin Swift draft. Swiss draft. Words, English, overrated. See you when it kicks. All right, here we go. Pack one, pick one. What do we got? Our rare is Goblin Piledriver, which is, I feel, more playable than a lot of people give it credit for. There's a lot of those dragon fodders that put two goblins into play. You've got your Subterranean Scout, which, give it unblockable, and then it can go pretty crazy. It is also not worth very much online, so I'm not feeling the compulsion to rare draft something that's less than half a ticket. Realistically, I'm looking at Stalwart Aven or Claustrophobia. Stalwart Aven is a really solid card. Claustrophobia is pretty solid removal. The gamble I'm taking is, do I want to go into the color that tends to be more open or just the better color to start off? You've got Bloodcursed Knight down here, which is also a pretty strong card, but you definitely want to make sure that you are in the black-white enchantments. I'm just going to go with the solid creature and start that off. Stay in white. And I feel I'm rewarded here with that pick. Topin Freeblade is the 2-drop of choice in the format. Vigilance. If you get Renown in there, you're going to kick it off to a 3/3 Vigilance. That's always nice. Other things I'm looking at in here, Enshrouding Mist is a good combat trick. You've got Leaf Gilder, which is the premier 2-drop in green. Orchard Spirit is consummately playable. 2/2 with evasion. Bounding Krasis, fantastic card, but I definitely need to know I'm blue-green before I pick that up. Weight of the Underworld is okay removal, and Ringwarden Owl is also playable. Negate is not terribly great in this format unless you're playing me, and then it always seems to be the card that is needed. Reclusive Artificer is good, but only if you get that deck. And I'm definitely... Oh! What happened? Another... There are some crazy mispicks going on. I'm going to need to review this again because... Jeez. How did I get... Eyeblight Assassin over my original Stalwart Aven? Okay. So... I'm trying to not let that tilt me too much. I'm going to stay on path. So I have one Eyeblight Assassin. I think I'm going to go for another Eyeblight Assassin in this pick. They are decent. I don't really want to go into the Elves deck from where I'm at right now. But I definitely... Rogue's Passage is also a very good card. I mean, giving your creature unblockable even at the cost of 4 mana is something to look into. Otherwise, Shambling Ghoul is a pretty good 2-drop. I'm going to go the Eyeblight Assassin, though. Alright, what am I looking at here? Ooh, that's a really late Seismic Elemental. And Acroan Sergeant is also a really good card. I'm going to take the Seismic Elemental. It kind of takes me off color, but in the colors that I've drafted so far, I'm looking at Yoked Ox, Catacomb Slug, Rabid Bloodsucker, all terrible, and Dark Petition, which is only playable in a few decks. Seismic Elemental, however, is just a game breaker. I mean, you can win the turn you play it. So, I'm okay taking that. Again, splitting out colors pretty early, but these are pretty good colors to be in. I mean, red, white, really solid. Yivas Forest Mage is pretty good, but I'm going to take the Acroan Sergeant here. And we're looking at another Eyeblight Assassin. Gnawroot Trapper is good in the Elves deck. Water Courser is good in any blue deck, but I think I'm pretty far from blue right now. Angel's Tomb if you have a ton of creatures, and I mean, so far I've drafted 6 creatures. I could take that to hedge colorless, but that doesn't seem very exciting to me. I think I'd just rather take the Eyeblight Assassin. Maybe I'll get a good old Nantuko Husk and Dragon Fodder. I'll take the Nantuko Husk over the Dragon Fodder, since I'm more black than I am red, and Nantuko Husk just has a lot of great synergies, especially in red. I mean, Dragon Fodder is a good card for it as it is, but I'd rather have that for now. And this one dried up pretty heavily for me. Bone to Ash is a decent counterspell, but holding up 4 mana is a lot in this format when you want to be fast and low to the ground. I'll probably take Chandra's Fury for the face, and a great Thopter remover. Something to look into. I actually like Infectious Bloodlust. +2/+1 and haste. I mean, even if it's just as a combat trick, is definitely something to look into. And that's kind of how I view this card. It's an enchantment, technically, but I see it as a combat trick, where I'm giving a creature +2/+1 and haste, and if it dies, I get to do that again. And that's exactly what I would hope to get after that. Bonded Construct is going to be my pick here. It's colorless. It goes whichever way I'd like it to. It sounded dirty. So I'm looking pretty red-black right now. So what I'm hoping to start seeing are going to be the Blazing Hellhounds, Acts of Treason, start going into that black-red sack deck. I'm never playing Gear per Aether Grid. I would have to have that just God draft where every single card produced tokens. Or Thopters, specifically. Alright. Oh, yeah. Chandra's Ignition. I love this card. It is 5 mana, but it can just end the game. Because you're dealing it to every other creature and your opponent. So, I mean, it just leads to such huge blowouts. I really do love Iroas's Champion. It's a 2/2 double striker for 3. But maybe this is the one draft in Origins history where someone's not going red-white, and that comes back. At that point, I would start investigating things. Another Leaf Gilder's in here. Graveblade Marauder is a really good card, but it's just not on par with Chandra's Ignition. This is a good card that helps more in grindier games. This just wins games. And it is swingy. I mean, if they remove your creature, then you lost everything. But if they don't, Lord Almighty. Okay. Got some good stuff here. I got a Thopter Engineer. Goes great with Nantuko Husk, and goes great with itself. I mean, you get a Thopter, it's got haste. 1/3 body is very relevant in the format. Passing a Husk and a Sergeant, but those are much more replaceable than the Engineer is. Some good white. Again, that Enshrouding Mist, the Charging Griffin. Enthralling Victor is also a good card. If I get some more Husks, then I will happily snap one of those up. But Thopter Engineer, just more powerful. Okay. I'm bummed about the Stalwart Aven being here, but it's Fiery Impulse. Fiery Impulse is just fantastic. It's 2 to 3 damage, only to a creature, which is the bummer, but it's at instant speed, and it really helps you keep from getting behind those, renowned decks that are coming down, swinging at you on turn 2 for 2. Just get them buggers out of the way. So, getting the Fiery Impulse, it is also something I need right now, which is removal. I mean, yes, I have 3 Eyeblight Assassins, but I'm really hoping I can start cutting those and getting some other cards that just deal with creatures directly. Sideboard the Bonded Construct for now. Going to move the Chandra's Fury to the sideboard as well. I'm hoping that I don't have to play that card. The Eyeblight Assassins, I I don't even know if I want to play two of them ideally. Red looks to be the most open. Then realistically, if I weren't... Okay, so, as I was going to say, I'm not so heavy into black here that I'm going to stop taking white cards. So with this Taupe and Freeblade being here, I will definitely take that. Because turn 2 Taupe and Freeblade, turn 3 Infectious Bloodlust, that's real business. It's way better than Subterranean Scout, so that's the route I'm going to go. And there's just nothing here for anything. So I'm going to hit on the card most likely to beat me, which is Joraga Invocation. This card can, much like Chandra's Ignition, just end games on the spot. The thing I love about it the most is not the +3/+3 to your team. It's that they have to block those creatures. So it really forces some unhappiness on your opponent's side. Okay. White seems to be pretty open from this direction. So I'm going to bring that back in. Red seems to be drying up for me, which is not what I want to see. I do not want to have to try to go 3 colors. I'm looking at Knight of the Pilgrim's Road or Subterranean Scout. Taupe and Freeblade is far better than Subterranean Scout in my estimation. Knight of the Pilgrim's Road isn't so much because it's got 1 power and toughness more for 1 mana more. It does have the renown, but I'm going to go with it. What are we looking at here? Chandra's Fury, not terribly interested in it. Enlightened Ascetic, it's sideboard, but these come around. They are simply sideboard tech. You don't want to be main decking that. Read the Bones, though, is a very good black card. And I hate to be straddling my colors this late, but I'm going to take that because if I do go black, I definitely want that. Grasp of the Hieromancer is going to be my pick here. It really helps get damage through. Ooh, yes! No one is in red-white. That's incredible. The downside is now I have to come up with 10 more cards in my deck. Red-white, I will play Bonded Construct if I have to, because it's just... Yeah, Bonded Construct will come in because it helps get that early aggression in. And Chandra's Fury could come in too, because where I've personally run into problems with this deck is just finishing. You get a lot of creatures out early, and they do that damage, but just getting that... Wow, Acro and Sergeant coming around this late. What am I going to hate on? I'm going to hate on Dark Dabbling. Hate on Touch of Moonglove. Death Touch effects are annoying. Yeah, now it would have been really nice to have gotten that first Stalwart Haven. I will take Yoked Ox for the sideboard. If I get some more Infectious Bloodlusts, I will actually play that, because the Yoked Ox with Infectious Bloodlust on turn 2 is attacking for 2, and it's a 2/5 every turn. And that is just downright annoying to get rid of. But I'm going to need to have 3-4 Infectious Bloodlusts to worry about that. Alright. What's going on here? Sword of the Animist. Very good card. And I think I'm going to go with that. Just to boost up my critters, give them a little bit more. And it will help me mana fix. I also do think it's probably the best card in the pack. I mean, it's good equipment. I don't think it's great equipment. I don't have any mana sinks right now. But other cards I'd be looking at, I mean, if I was green, Yev's Force Mage would be fine, but another Grasp of the Hieromancer, a Bellows Lizard would be something that would be a mana sink. It's a very inefficient one, but it's always fun getting that rubbins of killing someone with a Bellows Lizard. But yeah, I'm just going to snap the sword. Okay. So now my options here are Dead Kids or Boggart Brute. I'm going to take the Dead Kids. They've got evasion, and I'm going to be playing some enchantments here. I don't have the removal suite that I would like to see. I'm passing some great black removal right now, but I'm red-white, and pretty solidly so at this point. And if Acro and Sergeants are wheeling, maybe the Boggart Brute will wheel. And what have we got here? Sigil of Valor, not bad. Charging Griffin is the way I'm going to go. I have 0 4-drops, which I should get a medal for getting this far into a draft without being glutted with 4-drops. It's also the only white card, and maybe there's someone still on the fence about white. So I'm going to get that out of there. Here, we are looking at absolutely nothing. Smash the Smithereens is terrible unless you're playing that Thopter deck. There's some great green. I mean, the bad news here is I am in the 2 colors that don't have great cards in this pack, which means that I'm getting cut. I'm going to have a hard time, or they're just, what's going on here? I mean, the red in this pack is so deep. I want the Acolyte of the Inferno so bad, but I do need more removal. Right now, I'm sitting at Fiery Impulse and, the Chandra's Ignition, and that's just not enough. But any of these cards come back. I mean, Cobble Brute's probably what will come back, and I would probably still play it. Seismic Elemental, wow. There's that Act of Treason I would have loved if I was black-red, but I also haven't seen a Blazing Hellhound yet. So I'm definitely taking a Seismic Elemental, especially one that someone gives to me this late. Jessian Thief still in the pack. That's not right. But I'm not going to take it. Well, I'm not going to play it, but I'm going to take it. I don't want to play against that card. Nothing else in this pack is terribly worrisome to me. There's that Eyeblight Assassin, but Jessian Thief is a downright good card. I will take the Subterranean Scout here. It will help me push damage through. Put that on Eros' Champion, then buff it somehow, and you can really rock the house down. So I'm at 23 cards right now. I feel they're pretty much all playable. The only ones that I'm on the line about are actually Chandra's Fury. I think my curve is looking okay. I'm going to take the Bellows Lizard. Acro and Jailer is actually something I might play main deck, simply because I don't have a mana sink right now, and 3 mana for a tapper isn't ridiculous. I could also grab an Alchemist Vial. Yeah, it's definitely a playable card. But this kind of does the same thing and gives me board presence. Yeah. And I got one anyway. I've already got as many Yoked Oxes as I would even contemplate playing, so I'm going to get the Guardians out of my way. So I'm looking to cut 4 cards. Chandra's Fury is going to be one of them. And I think I'm going to keep the Construct in. I think I'm going to get rid of the Alchemist Vial. I do want a lot of creatures. Especially since, again, I really only got 3 to 4 pieces of removal. The curve stacks up pretty heavy on 3. One of these 2 is going. Yeah, well, one of these 3. One of my 1-drops is gone. I just don't know which one I want it to be. I think in a slower game, the Bell's Lizard would be it. So I think I don't want to play slow games. Chandra's Fury, I mean, with 2 Seismic Elementals, I think I can get rid of Chandra's Fury. That'll come in if I see a bunch of X1s, for sure, and then I'll have 2 of them. If I see a bunch of X1s, what I'm probably going to get rid of is, depending upon what they are, I might start taking out some of those early drops, take on a slightly more controlling aspect, because, well, yeah. And I've only got 3 enchantments for the Blessed Spirits, which you'd like more, but I'm happy with the 3 I've got. I mean, if we want to talk Magical Christmas Land here, so turn 3, Urus's Champion. Turn 4, Subterranean Scout, make it unblockable, Infectious Bloodlust it, and hit him for 8. And when you're attacking for 8 on turn 4, you're probably in a good spot. So, clearly I'm not cutting any of those cards. And this brings me down to 23. And I think it's a 23 I'm okay with. I am going to... Well, I'm decent in the air. So I won't be horribly overmatched against, a blue-white skies deck. So I'm going to add some basics here. Let's see what you suggest. I'm not going to go 10-7. I'll go 9-8. Because my white, I definitely need to have access to early. Because most of my early drops, I mean, it's the 2 Topen Free Blades. These, my 3 drops, my 1 drop, all white. And I don't need double red until turn 5. So I'm going to add that, submit the deck, and then I'll be back when the game starts.